Let's go back to when you were 13. I want to pick up the thread of that story. Okay, so you're seeing all this catastrophe, this chaos that you described that redounds to the benefit of the con men who are running the show, for example, and that is there to delegitimize Israel and the United States, and to redound to the credit, let's say, of the Iranians operating in the background. You're seeing all the consequences of this firsthand. You decide that for a variety of complicated reasons, you decide that you're going to face your fear of death. You have this graveyard next. You're going there to investigate and to experiment. What was the consequence of doing that for you? And then how does that tie in with your transformation of worldview over time?
When I was very young, and this is stuff I don't like to talk about because I choose not to be a victim. And also I don't like to become vulnerable because people think that you are weak. Stuff that I don't have to talk about, but I think there is no way around it. Because many people ask, what motivates you and where are you coming from? When I was very, very young, I was raped in a culture that would kill the rapist, but also they would kill the rape victim. So I never told anybody about that story. I never got any support. And
how old were you?
I was 5 or 6 years old when that happened. Now, I had to heal on my own, and it was a hell of a journey in a society that did not have mercy, that they preferred that I would disappear so I don't bring shame on them.
Right.
And I witnessed so many women being killed after being raped, that the father would prefer to kill his daughter to bury the shame with her, not to have to face the society that his daughter was raped. What type of mentality is this? What type of religion is this? And this is not just a culture. Okay.
Does it reflect on his inability to protect her? Is that the source of the shame?
It's his status.
It's his status.
It's the father of, he could not protect his daughter.
Yeah.
And now maybe the daughter is pregnant. This was before abortion, etc. Okay, the daughter is pregnant. What is he going to do with the child? No, he prefers to kill the daughter. He does not want to go even to the degree that his grandchild is a result of a rape incident. So, and from the 7th century in Islam or in Arabia, they killed infants. So when I say sacrificing children, this is not coincidental. It's rooted in that culture. So for me, it was unjust that I had to actually carry the burden instead of getting the support from the family, from the society, like at least to come and say, who did it? Today I'm 45 years old, I'm a very strong man. I can confront the whole universe if necessary. And up to now, none of them asked the question, who did it? And by the way, I have the power to kill the predator down the road. He's probably living in a nightmare. Why I didn't actually harm him? Because later on, I got lots of power, even when I was back in the territory, but I choose not to. Instead of going after the rapist, I went after the belief system. And this is where I need to create the change.
I see.
So what's so-called Islam, and I know this is very sensitive topic. If the belief system, if Allah thinks that the rapist and the raped are equal and they deserve the same punishment, then this God does not have authority over my life. And this is where I start questioning the entire belief system, and I rebelled.
How come you're still alive?
Well, they tried to kill me, and they're still trying to kill me.
I bet.
They have been trying to assassinate me politically, at least. All these progressives and Muslim Brotherhood wearing all type of masks in the United States. They have been trying to discredit me, so I cannot even speak for myself, to defend myself. because I'm speaking on behalf of all the wounded children in the region. And I know their game, and I know they don't care for the children. Instead, my father sacrificed me. He said, this is not my son, and I don't know him. If you want to kill him, his blood is allowed. So when you have to choose between a hypothetical God that does not even exist and the future of children or your own child, well, we have a fundamental problem here. Then you come posing to tell the rest of the universe that Islam is a religion of peace. Well, no, we have a big problem here. We have to talk about it. And when I start talking about this, I got canceled.
Yeah, I bet you got canceled.
So and now I'm labeled Islamophobe. What Islamophobe? I'm confronting this thing, and I'm willing to die in its pursuit, because there is no other way. Only the truth can set people free. Only the truth. The same thing with Palestine. It totally depends on the destruction of Israel in order for us to see what Palestine is. And the manifestation of Palestine requires the destruction of Israel. Same thing with the Islamic State. It requires the destruction of civilization, all civilizations combined, in order to achieve this global state called Khilafah. But we don't know how it is going to look like then. So we have first to die. For them to live, then they can prove themselves. If there is anything that defines madness, this is madness. But
so you were hurt very badly when you were very young, and then you lived through the Intifada, and you were right beside the graveyard, and you decided that you're going to confront death relatively directly and overcome your fear of it. You were doing some religious experimentation really at the same time then. You said that you were testing out this hypothesis that there was torture in the grave. You did that alone because your friends wouldn't come along with you, which is like hardly surprising. So you said that you also decided with regards to being raped that the proper response to that wasn't to go after the person specifically who was responsible, but to go after something deeper than that, which was the belief system that gave rise to this problem. All right, so now you're 13. Are these ideas already in your imagination? Like when do you start sorting? When was it that you started sorting this out?
Some of them were in the form of feelings, just a gut feeling. I did not have the means to express them, but I knew them. It was not coincidental that I could not tell my own father about this situation, but later on I knew that my punishment is death. So today I have the power to express myself. I didn't know everything at that time, but believe it or not, I felt it. That this society cannot be trusted. And this is why today when I stand and I tell the world, anyone who identifies as a Muslim, I consider them as a threat. I don't trust them. And people say, oh, you cannot generalize. This is like insane what you say. No, it's not insane. Because if their belief system has sentenced me to death many times for crimes that I haven't committed, then you pause as a Muslim, you carry that identity. How am I supposed to feel towards you? It's like coming to a Jewish refugee during the Nazi era and say, I am a Nazi, come with me, I'm not gonna hurt you. No, you're taking the identity of a Nazi regime. And whether you are the bad cop or the good cop, it doesn't matter. You are serving the same establishment. And I'm tired of this moderate versus extremist. Every individual has the responsibility to know what they are identifying with. My individuality is above all religions and above all gods. I don't accept to just take a label for myself, not knowing what I'm getting myself involved into, because only my parents pushed that religious identity on me. And if I am at that level of consciousness, then how can I trust you with anything? I cannot trust you with my woman. I cannot trust you with my property. I cannot trust you with my money. I cannot trust you being even close to me. because you don't qualify, you don't know your individuality. You are unpredictable. You can be friendly now, but 5 minutes later you can be a part of a crowd and you are going to show me your tusks. You might bite me. So then I have a problem. Okay,
What do you make of moves on the part of countries like the UAE and the other countries that are involved in the Abraham Accords, let's say, because that it looks to me like that's a pathway forward much different than the pathway laid out in Iran that holds out the possibility of something like a rapprochement between, let's say, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. Do you see any hope on that side of things?
Yes. With the statement that I made, this is my fundamental stand. I don't compromise this truth. And I don't respect anyone who identify themselves as a Muslim, in principle. Because why? Okay, but this is my fundamental stand because I aim to reform a generation. I need people to get out of their cave of delusion and think for themselves. Like, for example, I don't have a problem with the Sufis, and I don't have a problem actually with Muslims who don't pose as Muslims. They don't have to bring their religious identity as they are entitled to something. They want to intimidate me or maybe tempt me with something. Sincere, devotional people don't need a religious identity at all. And those exist in the Arab and the Muslim world. But also hypocrisy is the other side of the coin.
And there are people who proclaim allegiance to God while acting in their own service, right? The deepest of all possible sins, right? To invert the moral order so that you serve yourself while claiming to serve what's properly put in the highest place, right? And there's no shortage of religious hypocrisy, and I think it is the worst of all possible sins because it inverts the cosmic order, right? It makes everything good subservient to what it is that you want, and that can be, obviously that's a problem faced by any religious system because any religious system can become overrun with hypocrites. But that's really what you're pointing to, is the distinction between hypocrisy, and the activists in the West are exactly the same sort of people, right? They're wearing their morality on a stick. Look how good I am because I'm on the right side. Has nothing to do with them organizing their lives in any sense of the word. Right. All they have to do is proclaim allegiance to the victim and they're on the top of the moral order. Regardless of who they have to crawl in bed with to manage that particular stunt, which is what we're seeing everywhere in the West at the moment, after October 7th, obviously.
And all this moral decay, of course, there's in common. It's a human condition. You know, this is why we're saying if we want to see the new man, if we want to integrate to a higher state of consciousness, then we need to drop this political correctness. What's the difference? It's the same thing. It's the same game.
Yeah.
You know, I was born in that.
That's why they end up on the same side.
And I was born in that belief, like at least when it comes to me. I don't have the right to criticize my own belief system. And if I do, it becomes hateful speech. Who says this? This is my birthright to rebel and to criticize. This is what makes us superior to animals.